Well, good afternoon. Good morning. It's still morning. That's why I still have my coffee. My name is Cassie Milligan, and I'm the Parent Instructional Coordinator here at Central Gwinnett High School, and want to welcome you to our April Central Gwinnett High School Virtual Coffee Chat. So we're getting together today to speak with our parents, and we also have special guests to speak with us today. So the first thing I want to mention, though, is that we are recording this meeting, and we're doing that so that we can present it to our parents who may not be able to make it to the meeting today. And so that we'll be able to give them the information at a later time. I'd also like to mention that we do have an interpreter who is available. Let's go back one. There we go. For Spanish interpretation. So if you do need Spanish, the directions have been placed in the chat box about how to select Spanish. Para escuchar en español, por favor haga clic en el globo que dice Interpretation en la parte inferior de su pantalla. Seleccione Spanish de la lista y deslice Mute Original Audio para que no pueda escuchar al inglés. Okay. And we have Miss Lindsay Segura Lopez, who is interpreting for us on the Spanish channel. So we appreciate her services and her awesome work as usual. So just as a reminder that my name is Cassie Milligan. I'm the Parent Instructional Coordinator here at Central Gwinnett High School, and I work in the Parent Center here at the school. And as we said, it's our coffee chat. So I have my coffee with me today. It's my typical Bustelo coffee. It does have a little protein in it today. I decided to double dip there. So I'm excited about that, and hopefully you have your coffee or tea with you today as well. And it's good to see some of my regulars popping in. Welcome everybody, hey. Okay, and for today we have a special guest. We have Ms. Dea Kunovac, and she is our Academy Career Specialist. And she is going to be speaking with us today about financial aid offers. So I am actually going to stop sharing on my screen to allow her to share on hers, and she will pick up from here. If you're just joining us, just a reminder that this is being recorded, and that if you need Spanish, please check in the chat box for directions. Ms. Dea, turning it over to you.
Good morning, thank you. Like Ms. Milligan said, I'm Ms. Kunovac, Dea Kunovac. It's nice to be here again. I joined y'all, when was it? A few months ago for the Parent Coffee Chat, and I'm happy to be back. This time we're doing a special edition financial aid session. So thank you so much for having me. And you can see my financial aid offers screen here, correct? Awesome. Yes. Okay, all right. So let's get started. If you don't know already, I work with the counseling department at Central Gwinnett by supporting juniors and seniors in post-secondary planning. Basically, I'm the go-to person for anything college and career related. I attended Georgia State University for undergrad, as well as UGA and Piedmont College for my graduate degrees. And this is where you can find me virtually. So those are all the resources that are available to parents. There are a few that are also available to students, the senior e-class page and the counseling e-class page being the main ones. So before we begin, I just want to be sure we're on the same page about procedures and terms. The word financial aid offer, for instance, as defined by the Department of Education, is a document that tells you what financial aid you can receive from a particular college. So students can expect to receive an aid offer about 2 to 3 weeks after their acceptance to that particular school. but it can be later for community colleges like late spring or early summer. And actually, we've seen with the University System of Georgia that they've kind of waited this year to send theirs out until about mid-April. So you should be, if your student is going to a school, a public school in Georgia, you should have received those financial aid offers recently. And those are usually, well, I'll get to how you can access those in just a minute. Just so you're aware too, those offers can change based on a number of factors, such as verification or budget finalization or anything like that. You'll normally see words like estimated or pending or tentative on those offers. Here we go. Sorry about that. So how do you read a financial aid offer? The terms can be a little bit confusing to anyone, so we'll go over what to expect. First, you might see the term cost of attendance. The cost of attendance for any school is largely determined by the school itself. That includes direct costs, such as tuition and fees and room and board, as well as indirect costs like books and travel. Those direct costs are pretty set. They're not going to change from student to student, but the indirect costs could, depending on the books the students need and what type of travel they're doing. The cost that you would be responsible for can be different from the cost of attendance, depending on what grants or scholarships your student qualifies for. So grants and scholarships can be awarded by the federal government and the state government, by the college itself, or from outside organizations, both public and private, like our PTSA or the Lawrenceville Rotary Club or the Coca-Cola Foundation, for instance. Grants are based on financial need, usually determined by the FAFSA, and scholarships are normally based on academic achievement. Here are some examples of each. Pell Grant is probably the most familiar to families. It's a federal award based on need, and the amount changes based on the level of need. Last year's Pell Grant max for 1 year was just under $7,000 as a reference. Here in Georgia, Hope Scholarship also varies yearly, but usually covers about 80-something% of tuition. Zell Miller Scholarship covers 100% of tuition, but requires a 3.7 GPA and a certain score on the SAT and ACT. So any of these monies that a student is eligible for can be deducted from the direct cost of attendance to come up with the estimated bill before loans. So again, here it is. The estimated bill before loans is calculated in this way. And loans and work study are not included. Loans, obviously, because you have to pay those back, but work study isn't included because, and this isn't saying that your student shouldn't apply for work study. It's really, really wonderful. It's a great way to reduce costs, especially if they're eligible. Some schools you have to be eligible based on financial need to apply for work study, but work study is not included in our estimated bill before loans because it's a big if. First of all, the student has to get the job, and then if they do, they normally spend that money on indirect costs like books and travel and anything like that because they're getting that money after the semester of work. They're working for the school and they're getting paid, and usually they're spending it after the fact, whereas the bill is due before classes start. So they wouldn't have those funds available to them. So if we then add potential loans to the equation, the estimated bill after loans is what you will be responsible for if, and that's a big if, you choose to borrow the loans included in your aid offer. So here is an image of a sample financial aid offer. This isn't a student at Central. It's actually provided to us financial aid who trains aid offers. So glance, it looks like you have $0, and you might feel like you just won the lottery, right? So upon further inspection, you can see a big red flag at the top. Loans were included in the estimated bill already. So we'll get to that in just a second. One thing that the college has done really well here is they have in the center here they've listed their total cost of attendance, direct and indirect cost. So at least that part is clear, about $40,000 for the year. Now we need to address the estimated bill before loans and after loans. This offer doesn't separate loans from grants and scholarships, which is problematic for a big reason. If you look here, the student is only receiving about $6,000 in Pell Grant and around $8,600 for the university's grant, which means you're just under $15,000 in aid each year, and at least aid that you don't have to pay back, right? Which means her estimated bill before loans is still upwards of $25,000 for the year. This is where loans come in, right? These will have to be repaid, so it's important to understand what each entails. So let's talk about each of those types that are in this offer. First is the federal direct subsidized loans. These are really the best ones on the list. If you have to get loans at all, these are really the best ones. Students with financial need are eligible for these, and the school determines how much you can borrow. The good thing about these loans is that they're subsidized, meaning the Department of Ed will pay the interest while the student is in school and for that grace period, the first 6 months after graduation, or during any deferment period. After the grace period, after those first 6 months after graduation, then you enter into repayment, or your student enters into repayment with a fixed interest rate, which is better than private student loans that offer variable interest rates. So this student, our sample student here, is eligible for $3,500 if you look up here at the subsidized loan, $3,500 in federal direct subsidized loan. So let's look at the next one then, the federal direct unsubsidized loan. Unsubsidized loans are different in that you do not have to demonstrate financial need. The school will determine how much you can borrow based on cost of attendance. Additionally, the student will be responsible for paying the interest during all periods, unlike the subsidized loan in which the Department of Ed pays the interest during the grace period or during deferment or while the student is enrolled. Finally, we have one left that we haven't looked at, and this is the big one here, PLUS loan. Okay, so the PLUS loan is available to parents to apply for instead of students. Your eligibility is based on credit history, and the maximum is the cost of attendance. In terms of student loans or loans for school, the PLUS loan is one of the worst payment options. Interest accrues very heavily. The payment plan options are limited, and getting out of this type of debt is virtually impossible. Even if you declared bankruptcy, you can't get out of it. If you do default on a payment, the government can garnish your wages or withhold money from your Social Security or from your tax refunds. So overall, this is just probably the last resort kind of loan. And I just want to make sure that we understand as a whole that you do not have to accept the full amount or honestly any amount of the loan offer. You, of course, want to accept the grants and scholarships because those you don't have to repay. But the actual loans that are offered, you don't have to accept the full amount. I suggest only accepting the amount that you need, the amount that you need to cover, and not any more. So at this point, we've talked about all of the terms you may see on an aid offer. Hopefully that will help you read each offer and compare schools to choose the right fit. Now, the great thing about public universities in Georgia, and this is called the University System of Georgia, is that they're going to offer they're going to use a standardized letter. So it should really look much like this, besides the logo, of course, at the top and the colors. So if it's not UGA, if it's Georgia State or any other institution that is under the University System of Georgia umbrella, it's going to look like this. Now, I will say one caveat is I've recently talked to some students who are Hope eligible and they have not seen Hope Scholarship on their award letter. And so I've reached out to a representative to see what the problem might be there. I don't know if maybe they're waiting till grades are finalized to post those, but those should include Hope Scholarship. They should include Pell Grant if the student is eligible, or Zell Miller Scholarship. So remember, any scholarship or grant that the student is eligible for will show up here. And Hope Scholarship is that one for a 3.0 plus Hope GPA, not the transcript GPA, but the Hope GPA. So if you've applied to any of these schools, you should have already received the offer, or your student should have. They can check their email. It should be a link in the email. That's I think it's open for 14 days. So once they should be checking their email daily. And that's something that they should get really in the habit of doing, checking both their school email and their personal emails daily. If they have received the offer, it is in their email. It's that link, and that link is accessible for 14 days. There are some really helpful aspects of these letters. They're a clear breakdown of aid. They have explanation text, like if you hover over a certain item with your mouse, it'll explain what the term means. And then they also show multiple payment options. So these are really great letters. I won't be sharing this presentation because I've used materials that aren't my own, but you know, we are recording this, so we're going to be sharing the recording. And I've also pulled up a list of resources. So these resources are from a variety of places, and I'll share those in a minute. But I do want to say I've pre-recorded this presentation already, so I can also share that part at the end of the presentation. I know we're recording this session as well, but I'll share the video link so that you can access this information later on. So let's start with probably the most helpful resource in calculating costs. I would definitely take a screenshot of this slide, or take a picture with your phone, or do whatever that that you do to save your most important tidbits. This is a free tool that allows you to plug in all of your fees and shows you your estimated bill. And the best part is you can do it side by side for multiple colleges to see how their costs differ. So that right there, that uaspire.org/calculator, that'll take you to a tool. It's a free tool. The student just has to create an account. And this is the federal financial aid site. This website is my go-to for any financial aid terms or anything that I need answered, especially about FAFSA. It's the same site that you use to apply for FAFSA, so it's a really good resource for you to have in your toolkit. And finally, for more information about the Hope Scholarship, Zell Miller Scholarship, any other state programs, you'll probably want to go to georgiafutures.org. They do a great job of explaining how a student qualifies and where those scholarships apply, and how much at each school. So the link here at the bottom is for a video pre-recorded version of this presentation. So it is for you to refer back to. It is case sensitive, so make sure you're capitalizing the F, the A, and the O when you go to the website. If you'd like to screenshot this slide or take a picture with your phone, I'll leave it up for a few minutes, or if you need to write down the address. In the meantime, I'd like to go through the chat to answer those questions, if Ms. Milligan, if you think that's all right, and then we can do unmuted mic questions after that.
Of course.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so I don't see, right, okay, I don't see any questions in the chat, so if you'd like to, this is your time to unmute and ask whatever questions you like.
Hello, hi, I'd like to ask a question. I have, my son will be a senior next year, and you mentioned the, the different financial aid options, and loans, of course, was an option. Okay, he will be 18. Would you should we look at possibly letting him take the loans out in his name, or I don't know how the best way to do that.
Sure, that's a great question. In fact, most of these loans are directed at the student. So the federal direct subsidized and the federal direct unsubsidized loans are both the student loans. So the student would be signing a promissory note. They'd be going through the loan process themselves through the financial aid office. However, we talked about that one loan that was directly for parents. The PLUS loan is the parent option. So yes, both of you can if the need came up, but again, loans are the kind of our last resort. So, right. And especially that PLUS loan, that parent PLUS loan, I would definitely say that as a worst case scenario. And at that point, if you're looking at really large loan sums, it might be better to compare some colleges that might be more affordable and look at your options there. And there are really great programs out there that are, the Hope Scholarship is one to stay in Georgia. If you have a 3.0 Hope GPA, so much of your tuition is covered, and then you have your room and board. Or there's the Hope Career Grant, for instance, that is for high demand technical colleges, high demand careers in technical colleges. So for instance, IT or computer technology at Gwinnett Tech, or welding, or any of those high demand fields, you can go to school for practically free under the Hope Career Grant. You just have to keep a 2.0 GPA at the school. And so there are so many options before you even get to the point of, discussing loans and whether you want to take those out. Okay.
I just wanted to know, with the student loans, he won't have to have us as a co-signer, right? He could do it on his own if it came to that.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Just making sure. Thanks.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Rita Smith.
Hi, Rita. How are you?
I'm good, at yourself. I had my child will be a senior next year, and I was wondering the outside costs, other than the loans, like far as covering her books and, the stay in college, the room and board and all of that. What part do the parents actually have to come out of pocket for?
Right. So that's, what we kind of discussed with the cost of attendance. I don't remember if you were logged in for that part, but so the first part, the fixed part, is that tuition and the room and board. So tuition and room and board are almost is the fixed.
Hand in hand.
Mm-hmm. And then in addition to that, you've got books, you've got the travel, anything else that's associated, of course, with being a college student. So you got to start thinking then what the Hope Scholarship or the Zell Miller Scholarship, those cover only portions of the tuition. So all of the other stuff is on, the student and the parent. And so there are so many scholarships and so many programs that cover that. And he just has to be, the best thing he can do as a junior right now is start getting plugged in to school, to organizations. So if he's following e-class, for instance, like the counseling e-class page, I post scholarship opportunities there. Next year, he'll have access to the senior e-class page. We talk about different programs and scholarship opportunities on that page too. Just doing a little bit of work and staying tuned in and talking with his counselor about what he's eligible for. That is one of the best ways to cover those other areas. And like I said, that other, the Hope Grant, the Hope Career Grant is another great one for covering.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have any other questions or comments or anything for Ms. Kunovac? Okay.
I have another one. Oh, I'm sorry. Did someone else have a question?
No, is that Ms. Smith talking or Ms. Connie?
This is Connie. I didn't know if, I thought I heard someone else talking. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Ms. Connie.
One of my questions is my son is not too clear on which direction he wants to go into after graduation. So who would be his primary contact right now as far as, you know, coming up with a career path for him? He kind of knows what his interests are, but it's like, okay, he's one day he wants to be this, the next day he wants to be this. So I don't know who he would need to have a sit down chat with.
I totally understand, just like every other teenager, right? Both his counselor and I are great resources for that. I like to use this website a lot when talking about interests and how those lead to career paths. I'll write it down in the chat here. It's called mynextmove.org. It's nice because it provides students kind of levels of support. Like if they know kind of what they want to do, they can explore those things. If they're kind of interested in one industry, say medical or, you know, business, then they can look at careers in those industries. But if they just have no idea, they know what they like to do, they know their interests, aptitudes, you know, then they can take a little survey that kind of helps break it down and suggest careers. And so I really like that site for some career exploration. There are other ways to do that. So and during his advisement programs, in advisement, he should be getting a lot of that career exploration. So I encourage him to participate as much as he can in those sessions.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. And one thing I didn't mention in this slideshow, I kind of geared it towards this is what happens after you get your financial aid offer and how do you go through you know, comparing those offers. But in order to get that financial aid offer, a student really has to complete their FAFSA first. And so that is what your students next year, if you have juniors right now, next year in October, the FAFSA will open for them. And so they'll be completing the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. They'll be completing it for the 2022 to 2023 school year. I can't believe we're already talking about 22 and 23.
Yes.
That's the year that they'll be completing the FAFSA for if they're current juniors. So in October, they'll do that. And we have all kinds of support here for that if you have questions about those.
I have another question. Overlook. I didn't realize, or they didn't realize, that Jordan had took a language. In order to attend a college or university in Georgia, you have to have language. I'm at a crossroad right now. So I don't know if she can do the language one in next year, summer school, or do I have to go online and pay for one? I don't know.
That's a really great question for a counselor. Right now we're concerned. So I'd reach out to the counselor in that situation to ask. But the language requirement is for 4-year colleges. So if you know, if a student started at a 2-year college and transferred, they could then you know, do the language there. So that's also an opportunity for picking that back up if you wanted to do it, a transfer between.
Oh, okay, I see. Thanks.
Of course. Did we have any questions in the chat that I missed?
No.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Ms. Burton. Yes, Ms. Burton, go ahead.
Oh, okay. And this, my daughter is going into the 11th grade. You have a question. It may or may not be, since we're talking about financial aid or whatever, my daughter's getting ready to do the dual enrollment next year. And we got a note back from doing FAFSA or whatever paperwork we were supposed to do a couple of weeks ago, but we can't get in touch with anyone to help us with that. What do we do? Do we reach out to the school or do we reach out to the high school?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch. I think my connection is breaking up. I didn't catch that question. It's a dual enrollment question?
Yes.
We have a dual enrollment coordinator here. She's actually the head counselor here as well. Her name is Miss Tiffany Brown. I can put her email address in the chat so that you can reach out to her. She's a great resource for all things dual enrollment.
Yeah, that's Jordan's counselor.
We did call her. We did reach out to her. We have not heard anything.
Okay.
You're not trying to throw anybody under the bus or anything.
No, I can write down. I'm going to write down your contact information if you don't mind, Miss Burton, and I'll get her to reach out if she hasn't.
Thank you.
Had an agenda already. All right, of course.
I think time is of the essence. That's the only reason why I'm bringing it up, because you know.
And if you don't mind, in the chat, if you would write your student's name down, and I can get that to her.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we do have a question in the chat box. It asks, what about application fee assistance?
Absolutely, that's a great question. In fact, we have fee waivers for both the SAT and ACT and college applications if students are in the free and reduced lunch program. So those, you can request the SAT and ACT fee waivers on eClass. So a student would go to eClass and click on the link and fill out the form. But for the college application itself, a counselor can provide that. There are a couple of different ways to do that, through Common App, or we can email a document that's signed that's a fee waiver. So there are a few different ways that we give application fee waivers. And then I think I had a question earlier, and it was direct message, but I'll answer it in the group. It is not too late to apply for student aid for the fall. You can still fill out the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. And that's, I'll write the site in the chat, FAFSA.gov. And so you can still do that.
So you.
Was there a question there? I didn't hear the end of that.
What you say? Kunovac, is that right?
Yeah, Kunovac, that's fine.
Disregard my question. I have to. My teenager just sent the email, so I'm sorry.
No problem. Thank you. Teenagers, am I right?
She's normally on top of it, but I was like, didn't you send the email with last? No, I just sent it yesterday. I was like, okay. So if I had to eat crow, that's my time to eat crow.
Okay. I can't blame her. We're all a little, off these days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any additional questions for Ms. Kunovac? Okay. Well, let's thank her for giving us that wonderful information. She's always so open to come and talk with our parents and work with us to give us information. She feels very strongly about our parents having information and our students having the information that they need so they can make their post-secondary plans in the best way possible. And she will definitely be a future coffee chat guest for some upcoming ones if we continue to do this next year, which at the end of this coffee chat, the survey actually asked what your opinion is regarding continuing this for next year. Okay, so I am going to share my screen again, because another resource that Gwinnett County offers, let me make this bigger there, okay, is Transition Fair. And this is primarily for students who have special needs or students with disability. And this year, the transition fair was virtual, and they actually have a website that you are able to view the virtual transition fair for this year. So last week, there was actually a highlighted article for it. It's not there now, so I want to show you how you can get into that. Didn't mean to click that. Let's go back. Okay, so if you click on the search bar, I want to, and I've already typed in transition virtual fair, and then click enter. And then the very first subject line there, special education virtual transition fair. And then there's a whole web page, which I won't go into. I just want you to know that information is there. It's the GCPS Virtual Transition Fair for 2021. And it's important to note that this website will be available up through May 26th. So it's not a permanent feature of the website. So if you are a parent of a student with disability, or you have a neighbor or a family member, please pass this information along to them. It has some really good information for students who may be planning, well, any student is going to be planning post-secondary plans. So it helps students and it helps parents to be able to navigate through the system, navigate through certain resources that are available for special education students. And the presentations are there, the video presentations, the presenter information, agencies and resources that are of assistance to students, and also here are parent mentors. Gwinnett County Public Schools has 2 parent mentors that work specifically with parents of special education students. And they are a wonderful resource. I have used them personally, helping with parents anywhere from applying for Social Security for special needs child to making plans for after high school. They are a wonderful resource. So if you clicked on that, that will give you the information. So once again, just to repeat how you get there, if you go to the Gwinnett County Public Schools homepage, and then the search bar, you can put in transition fair, spelled correctly. Click on the link and it will be there for you. And I will also place the direct link to this site in the chat box. And I just lost my chat box. Okay. There we go. Let's resize. All right. Are there any questions about that? Okay. So,
I have one question.
yes, Ms. Smith.
Do that apply for children that have ADHD also, or that's simply for no, certain types of disabilities?
Actually, some of those resources would. I'm gonna put Ms. Kunovac on the, if I can, because I know you just went to the most recent VOC rehab meeting. Can you address that a little bit according to what you learned at that meeting? Do you mind?
I didn't hear you.
Are you muted? Okay, hold on a second.
Oh, hold on, I got it.
Okay.
One of the mute buttons wasn't working, but the other was. Okay. Sorry. No, so unfortunately, I wasn't at that meeting, but the special education chair was. So I can reach out to her. I believe there are programs in place for students with ADHD as well. There's a variety of things, and it can be throughout grade levels 9 through 12.
Yes.
Okay,
Sorry about
thank you.
that.
That's good to know.
Sorry, I knew we had talked about it. I was thinking you had been there. And I do know, like for instance, we had a counselor a few years ago, and she was a counselor at the school, and she had actually gone through one of the agencies' vocational rehab for ADHD, so, or ADD. So yes, that is a possibility.
Okay, thank you.
Add
You are
something.
welcome.
If I can add something too, most schools or all public schools, they have to, if a student has an IEP and
Right.
transition into college, they have to abide by that with some kind of reasonable accommodations within reasonable. They have to abide by that. So, you know, just as long as the college has the IEP, they can create those accommodations in the classroom.
Mhm. And that goes for the 504 too?
I believe so. I would contact our accessibility disability office at the particular school and talk to them about, you know, which accommodations can be made.
I will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for the information.
You are welcome. Okay, and just a couple more things I wanted to share with you. And you can actually get to them either in Gwinnett County Public School website on the home page. If you have a kindergarten student or friends or family with kindergartens, it is kindergarten registration time. So that's really important for our little ones to get into school, especially with this past year. There are quite a few that possibly would have started this year that will be starting next school year. So it's important that they get registered and get the important information that they need. Also, there's a superintendent search survey that's available to parents. Parents are able to give their input regarding what skills and what values that they would like for the new superintendent. So that's available from the website as well. A couple of things that are coming up. I'm going to click over to our latest nightly notes that was sent out this week. This week, milestone testing is still occurring this week and next week and even into May. So if you have any students that are taking either 11th grade language arts, US history, algebra, or biology, they are in the process of doing end of course milestones testing. If you have kindergarten through 8th student, there is summer enrichment acceleration that is being offered to students for free this year. So you just need to contact your local school. That is us today. The local school council meeting, just found out this morning, is actually changed to April 29th. So just got that email because of some conflicts. So I will send out the updated information later today, just so parents will know not to be looking for that tomorrow. And we'll send out the information for April 29th. As you know, I'm in the Parent Center, and that's part of Title I. So there is actually a Parent Partnership Advisory Council that will be held on April 29th. So it will be a busy day from 5:30 to 7:30. The school council is in the morning from 7:30 to 9:30. So this is the district level Title I meeting. And with this, you're able to give information and feedback to the county level Title I and their upcoming parent involvement plan. And this is on April 29th. It will be in English, and they will also have interpretation in Spanish. And if any other language is needed, the information is there to contact the county to request that information, or you can speak with me. Oh, this is something that's new as well. If you have an 11th grader, which it will mostly hit 11th graders, but anyone their 16th birthday or after, beginning 21-22 school year, says all students entering or transferring into 11th grade are required to provide proof that they receive a meningococcal booster vaccine. So that's for meningitis. And that is a new state requirement. Yeah, so all students have to give that documentation, and the schools will be requesting it. So if that's something that can be done over the summer, if they're 16, because it says if your junior is not 16 years old, they should wait to get the vaccine until their 16th birthday. So just have that in mind. And there is a link in the newsletter that also gives more information about that, explaining what the booster vaccine is for and where there are possibilities of getting that vaccination done.
Okay, so that's basically the meningitis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Got a question.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Yes.
So if we've already done that, do we just turn the paperwork from the doctor's office into the front office, or where would we send it?
If you are going to turn it into the school, it would go to our student support center, and our person who is in charge of registration is Ms. Donna Little.
Donna Little?
Okay. Donna Little. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Okay. And I think everything else we've covered. I am going to mention this since this is being translated into Spanish as well. There is a Charla en Familia or family chat that is done through Georgia Tech in their Go STEM program. So throughout the year, they have different programs for families. Some are in English and some are in Spanish. This one happens to be in Spanish, and it's how to recognize if my teenage son or daughter is depressed and how to help him or her. But the reason I mention it is that they also have very good family chats in English as well. So that's a resource that you can visit. Usually I will have it posted in the nightly notes or on the Parent Center webpage about any upcoming information that they have. And they also have a lot of information regarding college and particularly science, technology, that STEM area for post-secondary learning. Okay. Any questions about any of that? And just in case, I will put that in the, I'm having problems finding my chat box now. Okay, there we go. In the chat box for the latest nightly notes. And that's there. And oh, I was supposed to put in the chat box as well the transition website. So this is transition their website. And that's there for you as well. Are there any like general questions or concerns that anyone has?
So far, so good.
Hey, I'll take that. You guys have asked wonderful questions today. I've been so attentive. I saw people taking notes during the financial aid offers. And so that is awesome. And remember that we'll be sharing this recording, sharing the information through the nightly notes. So last thing, if I could ask of you, please, let me get back over to, here we go, is to please complete this evaluation. It will help us in several ways. One, it will help to evaluate the information that was given today. Two, there are some, and I'm gonna click over to it so you can see it. I'll give you a moment just in case you want to scan it with your phone with the QR code. There are questions about, specifically about coffee chats and doing it in the future and what your opinion is regarding that. And then just some information to help us like regarding your preference of time and that sort of thing. It is, I'm going to click over to it. Okay, so that is the evaluation form. And for those who need it in Spanish, if you click at the top with the downward pointing arrow, and then you can click on Espanol and access the survey in Spanish as well. Okay. And we do review that as well. If you have at the end and ask, I would like more information about, so please feel free to answer that. But if you want someone to contact you regarding your question, please be sure to give your information, like a name and a number, so that we can contact you. Sometimes I get really good questions, but I'm not sure who asked it. Okay.
And if you don't mind me interrupting, Ms. Milligan, I just wanted to thank everybody for inviting me and having me here. I love these parent chats, and I can't wait to be a part of them. I get to another Zoom, so you all have a good day. Thank you again.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, then. Any other questions before we close out? Okay. Just by a show of virtual hands or hands that I can see, who would be interested in a May coffee chat, beginning of May? Because towards mid-end May, everyone gets super busy with the end of the year. Yeah, I see some heads nodding. Okay. And I see a hand up. Okay, perfect. So I will check into that and I will let you guys know. All right, then, guys, thank you so much for coming. I enjoyed all of you as usual. For you new ones, welcome. For my regulars, welcome back. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and rest of your week. It's Wednesday, so halfway there. And have a good weekend. Okay, if you ever need anything, you know you can contact me in the Parent Center. All right, goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.